Welcome to Off the Sidelines podcast, the podcast that helps you stop overthinking and start taking action. My guest today is my good friend Mitch Pollard, who is a believer, a real estate mogul, a community catalyst, and an evangelist. Welcome to the show, Mitch. How you
What's
doing today?
good? What's good, CEO? I'm doing well, man. I'm blessed. Good to
Thanks
be
for
here.
joining me. Just want to start off with a little icebreaker. Just for the people to get to know you. Just think back. If you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice at the age of 18, what would it
Mm,
be?
okay, jumping right in. 18, I was just getting ready to go into college. I'm gonna be real. I would tell myself, don't smoke weed. Stay away from these girls and focus up on your sports, focus up on your grades, focus on networking, making connections. Building relationships with coaches, teammates,
Mhm.
students, professors. Yeah, and really walk that path, walk that narrow path, and don't get
S-
caught up with
Stay
the
stay focused. Well,
absolutely stay
keep the
focused
main thing the
on.
main thing.
All right, there you go. Because
Yeah.
college is wild. So yeah, that's what I'll
Yeah.
tell myself.
A lot of distractions in college, I know for sure. Man.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
So before we start, for those who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do, and how did you get started?
Yeah, man. A little bit about me, career wise, which is what a lot of people start with. I'm in real estate. I'm a real estate professional, a realtor, have a small real estate team here in the DMV. Started in that about, let's say 7 to 8 years ago. Went full time with it in 2020. Started the team in 2022, and that's going really well. Thank God for that. So yeah, that's career wise. Just got married about a month
Congrats,
ago.
congrats, congrats.
So definitely soaking in the blessings there. And
Absolutely.
yeah, my passion is to serve God's kingdom through teaching, evangelizing, doing work in the community, sharing God's word. Those are like my pillars: real estate, serving God, and being in the community.
That's great. That's great. That's all great. So what are some of the biggest fears or doubts you had when you first got started?
Biggest fears were that I wouldn't be successful, that I didn't have the skill set to be successful. I didn't have enough money to market.
Mm,
Fear of judgment, like what are people going to think that I'm jumping into some new field? Are people going to take me serious? There's all kind of fears, spiraling
yeah. Yeah.
fear.
So what are some things that help you conquer those fears to actually jump into real estate? I mean, because real estate isn't for everybody. It's a difficult field to get into. What kind of
Yeah,
helps you, conquer those fears and get started?
yeah, a number of things, man. One, I would say God's word. There's a verse in Joshua 1:9, where God is like really encouraging Joshua, who's a leader, stepping into like a new space. He was a follower of Moses, and he's like a leader now. And God is just like encouraging him, like I'm telling you, like whatever you do, you're gonna be successful. Just follow my word. Don't doubt. Don't be afraid. Just follow me. I got you. And I was really leaning on those scriptures very early on in real estate, because for me it was a very similar time like Joshua. It was new. I was stepping into a leadership space, and those scriptures helped get me through. Mentors for sure. Reading, being prepared, and really just having that mindset of just God is with me. I'm gonna be successful. So that was how
Got it.
I kind of overcame that fear.
Got it. That's good. That's good. So you've had success in real estate. What's the biggest misconception people have about your industry?
Oh man, where do I begin? I would say a lot of people think that all real estate agents do the same thing.
Hmm.
It's like, just pick a real estate agent. It doesn't really matter.
Just
Not
pick anybody,
realizing,
huh?
yeah, like as long as they got their real estate license, all they're gonna do is, open the doors for me, and then I'll do the rest. And I think a lot of people lose there on both sides, as a seller and a buyer. Working with a real estate professional, they're really gonna be able to guide you and not just help you make a transaction, but then guide you, after the transaction. Or even like selling your house. Like I see all the time, like people list their house, and people take photos with their phone of the home, and I'm like, the
Yeah.
agent's gonna make $10,000, and you couldn't pay a professional photographer to go in. You know,
Mm-hmm.
negotiating skills is a big thing that people miss out on when they just pick somebody just because that's their cousin or something.
Yeah.
So negotiating is a key skill that can really make or break the investment that you're making. So I would say that's probably the biggest misconception, is that every agent does the same thing. They're not really going to make a big difference, when the fact is it makes a huge difference if you're working with a professional versus just somebody that has their real estate license.
Yeah. So what would you say that differentiates yourself from other realtors? Do you have one thing that stands out?
No, it's a number of things I would say. My process is one. When I work with whether buyer, seller, or investor, we have a process. I run my real estate practice as a business. So I don't run it as just like, I'm just going to show you houses and then hopefully we find the right house. Like, we have an actual process. So when you come and work with Mogul Realtors, which is the name of my team, right, we have a process from step A to step B. Myself, I would say negotiating is probably one of my strongest skills. Being able to negotiate on behalf of the seller, getting the highest price, getting the best terms. Within a contract, you got terms of the contract, you got the deadlines, you got contingencies, you got inclusions, exclusions, a lot of things that go into negotiating. And throughout the years, I've really worked on my craft of being able to negotiate the best contracts for my clients. So they walk away from the deal, not just getting their house or selling their house, but with more money in their pockets, with a better situation, money to invest. So I would say negotiating for me is probably my differentiating factor.
Great, great. All right. So if someone was listening and wanted to get started in real estate but felt stuck, what's the easiest way for them to start?
The easiest way is to contact a professional. For example, myself, we have connections all throughout the real estate industry. Of course, mortgage lenders, title companies. Maybe you want to get your house prepared to sell, so you need contractors, vendors, handymen. So the easiest way is to connect with somebody that has all the experience.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're doing it on your own, I would say just start online and just start Googling, asking questions, using Chat GPT. You can get a lot of information from Chat GPT. I use it just about every day. I think you might have put me on the Chat GPT, actually, Thomas,
Yeah,
years ago. So yeah, I would
definitely a
say
game changer.
game changer. So you'll get a
Yeah.
lot of information from that, but I wouldn't rely solely on that. You want to work with somebody that actually got connections in the industry, because they're going to be able to just shortcut everything that you're trying to do. So something that might take you months to figure out, or maybe you're shopping around with someone and it's taking you months to find a house. Somebody that's experienced and has the connections, they can cut that into a week. So you save yourself the time by working with a professional.
Got it, got it. Do you have a go-to piece of resource, a book, or a mentor that helps you get started?
To help me get started.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't want to. One book would kind of undermine the work that it takes to really be a good realtor. Like, you see my library, it's a ton of books, right? The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, Ninja Selling, Buffini Essentials, the program, Rich Dad Poor Dad. There's a ton of books. I would say just being a student. Like, if you're gonna get into real estate, you want to be a realtor, like, you got to be a student. So if you're the kind of person that's like, well, I don't like learning, I don't like reading, then I probably wouldn't recommend it, because your income is solely dependent on your skills. So if you don't like developing your skills, then this is probably not the industry for you. Entrepreneurship is probably not for you if you don't like developing your skills. It's a constant thing. Like, you're always growing, you're always learning. But I say, to get started, definitely The Millionaire Real Estate Agent is a good book to start. It kind of gives you a foundation of what you need to know on how to start and build your business.
Okay. Well, a lot of people today are listening, sitting on ideas, but not taking action. What are one small step they can do to take action today?
One small step to take act, and this is in any field.
Yeah, in any field.
It's hard to. I would say, honestly, the biggest thing that you can do is become a student of the word. I would say that. I'm gonna give you my like my real answer, and then I'm gonna give you, like,
Mm-hmm.
if somebody like not a believer and they want to just do it the worldly way, because you can do it without God. Like, you can be
Mm-hmm.
successful without God. You don't need God to be successful. Yeah, you can worldly success, but again, like Jesus says, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world but forfeit his soul? So you can be successful, you can make a lot of money without God, but if you want to do it where your soul will be fulfilled, you living in purpose, become a student of the word. The word, the Bible has all the answers to what we need in life, whether that be financial, relational, career, whatever you're looking for is in the word. So become a student of the word, get connected with people who are believers, mature believers that's in the industry that you're in, because there's believers in every industry that's at a high level. So connect with a believer in the industry that's operating at a high level. And if they operate within the spirit of God, they're gonna be giving you game freely. They're not gonna be keeping information from you. There's a word for that. I can't think of it right now. They're not gonna be gatekeeping. They're not gonna gatekeep, right? If you
Yeah,
operate in the spirit of God, there's no, oh, these are the secrets I can't tell nobody. It's like, yo, freely you receive, freely you give.
there's a
So I
lot of
would
that
say,
in the real estate industry. A lot of gatekeeping.
It's a lot of gatekeeping, and we don't operate like that because there's an abundance. Like if you get
Exactly.
a client, you're not taking my client. Like I got clients set up for me, so I'm not really tripping if you're having success in real estate, then that's fine. Like it's not taken away from me. So that I would say that like that's how you get in the game and really thrive. And then if you're doing it without God, education for sure.
So, what's one piece of advice that you wish you would have been given when you started?
Real estate. One piece of advice I wish I would have been given. I think just learn faster. Learn faster because there's really no shortcuts. Like the faster you learn and the faster actually this is the one thing I wish I would have learned to apply what I learned faster. So
Yeah.
learn faster and apply what you learn faster. Because the faster you apply what you learn, then you get to like do the trial and error more quickly. So certain things we tried and it didn't work, right? But it took us years to finally try it.
Well,
You
some people
know?
don't even try. They'll read a lot of books and don't put
Yeah.
what they're reading into action.
Exactly. So like apply the stuff that you actually learn and just go try it. Like I'll tell you a quick story. Before I got licensed, I went to the library. I got a book called The ABCs of Real Estate Investing. In the book, it gave you the step-by-step blueprint on how to wholesale a real estate deal, right? So you can find investors at the county auctions. So you just go to the county steps and there'll be investors everywhere. You can meet investors there. Told you how to find real estate deals. Like you can drive for dollars. You can go on the MLS. You can go on Craigslist. And I read that book and I applied what I learned in the book. I found a deal on Craigslist. I met an investor at an auction. And within weeks of me getting that book, I made $7,000 for my first wholesale deal. And that was the first deal I ever did in real estate. I knew nothing outside of what I read in that book. From doing that, I was like, oh yeah, I need to get in real estate. I need to keep on applying these things that I'm learning. That would be
So,
my advice.
where'd you get the courage to do that? I mean, for some people, that could be like, hey,
Yeah.
listen, I don't know what I'm doing. Just to go out
Yeah.
there and really apply and put the effort in. Like, how'd you get that courage to do that?
I think being hungry, being in a situation where I was not happy with how my life was going at that time. I think when you're young, you try to look for the get rich quick schemes. And then really quickly I learned like, dang, there's no get rich quick schemes. Like you're gonna have to put in work somewhere. So I just got tired of like being broke. I got tired of living with my mom, coming home to my mom. My mom's Jamaican, so come home to a Jamaican mom, she wants you active. She wants you doing something. Like you can't just be in the crib,
Yeah.
So just like coming home to that every day and just being like, all right, I got to do something. I can't just like sit on my hands all day. I got to get active.
Okay. Looking back throughout your career in real estate, either when you started or either now, what would you say is your biggest mistake and what'd you learn from it?
I would say my biggest mistake overall in just like finances in that space is trusting my own instinct on like investing in stocks. I would say that. I invested in the stock. I spent thousands on this stock. Thought I had like a hunch over everybody. Like I had this like, oh, nobody knows about this, and lost thousands of dollars. Like I bought the stock. I bought a bunch of shares at like $9 a share, and then it went down to like $7. And I was like, oh, I'm about to keep investing. It's gonna go back up. And that joint went to like 5. Then it went to 3.
Oh man.
Then that joint went to like 30 cents. I was like, oh my goodness.
$9.30. Ooh.
Thought I had the one up. I didn't really seek no guidance. I didn't really like talk to people who were like experienced in investing. I just thought I like figured something out.
You learned a valuable lesson there, right?
I learned the valuable lessons of thousands of
Costly.
dollars, and I
Costly.
left tuition. School of hard knocks.
Yeah. So what's the worst financial advice people still believe?
The worst financial advice that people still believe. It's just like borrowing money. I would say that really having a plan when you borrow money, borrowing for luxuries, really investing without knowing what you're doing. That's what I would say. And I learned from that myself. So, and I see people do it still. So I would say that investing without really knowing what you're doing.
So what was your rock bottom moment in business and how'd you bounce back from it?
My rock bottom moment in business was actually like the birth of my real estate career. So before I got into real estate, I was personally training people. I was a trainer. I had a booming clientele as a trainer. Like all my clients were doctors and entrepreneurs, CEOs, and I trained them in their homes. And I picked up so much game from my clients, man. But during COVID, and I was selling real estate, but I was still training full time. And then during COVID, we was on lockdown. Anybody in their house, like you can train anybody. So I went from a 6-figure training business making no money at all, like overnight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, nobody saw
Uh,
COVID coming.
Nobody saw that coming. So that was big for me because that was all of my income. So that was rock bottom for me, giving away money during COVID. So I was definitely a part of that employment. But during that time, I just decided, like, all right, I'm gonna just go all in real estate. Fortunately, interest rates dropped. Everybody was buying and selling. So the real estate business really picked up then. And that was the momentum that I needed to really go full throttle in real estate. So I'll say my rock bottom moment really turned into just like a catapult for my real estate business.
So, how do you stay productive and avoid burnout while managing your business, philanthropy, and the community, newly married man? Like, how do you avoid burnout and be able to juggle all your responsibilities that you have?
Yeah. I'll say the vision, man. Truly being emotionally, mentally, spiritually connected to the vision is what keeps me going and avoiding burnout. And don't get me wrong, like there's times where you feel burnt out or there's times where you feel like weary, like, man, this is a lot. You know, when you have the vision of what God is calling you to and you know that you're being impactful, it becomes bigger than just like how I feel. Stuff that we do in the community, even in real estate, we're connected. We have so many relationships with people where people look to us for inspiration. People look to us for guidance. Myself and the team, like we really believe in our vision. We believe in our, our services. You know, how we can't burn out. Like there's too many people that's really like locked in with us. So that's what I would say on that.
All right, if you had to start over today with $500 and your knowledge, what would you do?
I would take that $500. I would get a bunch of books. I'll get a fresh Bible, and some highlighters, and I would start there.
Start there, create a plan from there, and take action, right?
Mm-hmm. That's the foundation.
So, what does getting off the sidelines mean to you?
Getting off the sidelines. Stop playing. Like I say this all the time. Like get right or get left. Stop
That's a good
playing. It's
one. Get
time.
right
Like
or get left. I like that.
yeah. Like it's time. Like it's like time is not waiting for you. So you got to get it. Like what you waiting for? You know. And then I know everybody's not wired like that. At some point, you got to like look in the mirror. Like all right. Either I'm pleased with this progression because everybody's going down some kind of path. So at
Yeah.
some point you got to stop and like look around like, man, am I really like happy with where this is leading me? If not, if the answer is no, or even if it's in question, then you got to make a change. So there's a lot of change agents out here. I consider myself one. Get connected with somebody that's actually outside, that's in the trenches, that's doing it, and just glean from them. And don't be afraid to ask for help. A lot of what I've learned because I was just willing to learn and just ask people like, yo, teach me how you did that, or like, how did you
Yeah.
do that? Let's set up something. I want to learn. Get right or get left. It's time. Like, it's no
Yeah.
time to waste. 2025. Come on now. Time is moving.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a lot of people are scared to ask for help. If there's something you want to do, you find somebody who's doing what you want to do, and you
Hmm.
talk, you reach out. Got to come with some form of value. But a
Hmm.
lot of people who are in these higher positions, that's all they want to do is talk about themselves. So if you reach
Hmm.
out, a lot of people will actually give you some guidance, but you got to put in the work. You got to do what they're
Yeah.
telling you to do and actually take action.
Mhm. And I would say also too, you got to be willing to transform.
Yeah.
I used to watch Dragon Ball Z when I was a kid. I don't know if you watched it, but I know for those listening, somebody
I
was
know a
watching
couple
Dragon Ball Z.
characters. I watched a little bit,
All
yeah.
right, so you know, like Goku, he had black hair. When it was time for him to turn up, he turned Super Saiyan, and it was like go
Yeah.
time. Like he had more power. He could do way more stuff when he was a Super Saiyan. And all of us have that in us. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? All of us can go to another level, but we got to be willing to change. Like you got to be willing to change your morning routine. You have to be willing to change your habits. You have to be a learner. Like you cannot thrive in this world if you're not a learner. Like you see all the AI, like they're taking jobs. So if you're not somebody that's constantly learning, you're behind the eight ball. Like you're going to be making less and less every year. So you got to be willing to grow. You got to be willing to transform. It's a Bible verse that says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. I believe it's Romans 12:2. So you got to be willing to change from here so that things change out here. I think that's what's holding a lot of people back. They want more, but they want to change their exterior situation without changing inside. Right. So if you like smoking weed every day and you got to change, you can't stay the same. Partying, you like partying every weekend and going out with your friends and spending a bunch of money on brunch and stuff like that. But you want to improve your finance, like you got to change. You can't do the same. The next level that you're looking for is going to require a different version of you. So you got to be willing to evolve into that new version of you. And that's going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
All right. So your
Sure.
habits are going to have to change. And I say morning routine because I know so many people, they say, you know it, finish the statement. morning.
person.
I'm not a morning
Yeah,
person. It's like
yeah,
change that because
yeah,
the most successful people are up in the early hours getting work done or like working on themselves before everybody gets up. So if you're automatically disqualifying yourself from that, like that group of folks, like you're at a
yeah,
disadvantage. So certain things like that, like you got to change. Like
yeah.
it's not hard. You just begin to build the habit.
Yeah, I'm up at 4:30 a.m. I get a workout in, walk the dog, eat, have a coffee, and all that before 6 o'clock. Like,
Bro, that's what I'm saying. Like by the time 9 o'clock rolled around, I done already gotten so much stuff done. And it's not just about that one day, it's about the buildup. If you do that for a year straight,
yeah,
you read 5 pages a day for a year straight, you know what I'm saying? Like that's
yeah,
1,500 pages. That's 8 books that you read. Like you're working on yourself in those morning hours, you're gonna transform, you
yeah.
know? So just being open to transform and do new things, become a new person.
So you spoke about habits. So what are some habits that helped you in your career or your development, or to help you change and evolve, like you said?
Yeah. One, definitely becoming a student of the Bible. Like not just, oh, I go to church on Sundays, but being a student, like actually trying to learn from what Jesus says in the word and from what the word says. Waking up early. For me, it was a progression. It started with like, all right, I got to get up at, 7 a.m. was early for me. And then 6 a.m. became early. And then 5 a.m., then like 4 a.m., right? So having that morning routine, and not just waking up early just to wake up, just to say you did, waking up and having a morning routine. I would say that was a big game changer for myself, like having a morning routine where I know when I wake up, these are the things that I'm doing before I start my day, including working out, which is a big element to that as well. So those are the two biggest things I would say, just habits that really separate me from my old self. And I don't say
Yeah,
separate
sounds
me from
good.
other people. I don't say separate me from other people because it's really not about me being better than the next person. It's
Yeah.
about me constantly becoming a more improved version of my old self.
Yeah, you gotta be better than it. Like you said, your old self. It's you versus you. You versus the man in the
Hmm.
mirror. At the end of the
Hmm.
day, a lot of people want to compete with people on Instagram and their neighbors and their friends, but it's really just you versus you at the end of the day. And what are you gonna do? Continue to be the same, or you're gonna make changes to be a better person? That's
100%.
really all it comes down to. How can our listeners connect with you and follow your journey?
Yeah, Instagram for sure. Yeah, I would say Instagram is probably like the main hub, and then from there you'll have access to the YouTube,
What's your IG?
Facebook.
How can they find you on Instagram? What's
Yep,
your
it's
Instagram
mogul.
handle?
Yeah, at mogul Mitch underscore.
At Mogul Mitch underscore. Y'all heard it. Well,
Hmm.
Mitch, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate you for coming on. Do you have any last words for the people before we get out of here?
No, I think everything I said kind of is clear. Definitely diving into that word, be transformed by the renewing of your mind, and that being like a good start for people to really get on a new path.
All right. Well, that's it for today's episode. Huge thanks to Mitch Pollard for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.